Hello everyone. I wanted to just share this with you. It's something I've discovered recently, which I think is a very useful and enjoyable website. It's on the Historic England's website, and it's the Aerial Photo Explorer. Now, what this is effectively is a massive archive of aerial photos, going back virtually to the beginnings of flight. So there are certainly images in here from the 1920s. The majority of them more recent than that, but a lot during and shortly after the Second World War, um, and a lot that is a lot more recent, like this century. Um, but I am really enjoying exploring it. It began really with my noticing it on a YouTube channel that dealt with local history to the area close to where I was born. And when I used it, I actually found an image of the road where I had been born, dating back to 1947, and I was born in 1953. But I could actually see that the house where I'd spent my early years up until about the age of 8. And I could spot the shed in the garden, the tree that had a swing on it that used to play on, all kinds of things. So brilliant from the point of view of personal recollections and nostalgia, but it's the most amazing um, artifact of history as well. So I'm just going to show you a few um, examples. I'm a great enthusiast of taking images of ships going in and out of Devonport because I now live in Plymouth. And this is a map of the sort of dockyard area of Plymouth. And each of these dots represents not one image, but a folder containing sometimes up to a dozen or more images that were taken in or over that particular spot. Um, Now, yesterday when I was looking, so here you can see just on this red click, for instance, there are 5 images in this folder. This one's obviously in colour and more recent, 2009. But there we are, straight back to 1945. Top down views, more 1945 again, I think. Um, yeah, sorry, I lost my train of thread of thought there already. But yeah, each dot um, gives you a certain number of images. So this is a recent view of Devonport Dockyard. But you get a much better feel for the place than you do looking on Google Maps, which does tend to be, obviously it's from a satellite, it does tend to be straight down. A lot of the views are more from this angle rather than top down. Um, and in the case of Devonport in particular, you can see some really historic ships in the dockyard. So images that you just wouldn't think it would be possible to see nowadays. Um, so if we look here, this is obviously top down, so it's not going to be such a sort of bird's eye view. But these are ships of the Royal Navy from the 1940s. That almost certainly saw action in the Second World War. Quite incredible. And Yesterday I found some images dating back to the 1959 of some aircraft carriers in Devonport Dockyard. But looking again a moment or two ago, because I've already had one unsuccessful attempt at making this video, couldn't find them again. So if the same thing happens now, I shall put up an image at the end of this video just to give you an idea of what you can see. It was a similar view to this, but around here, it dated back to 1959. Around here, there was moored two aircraft carriers. They were obviously sister ships, so they were identical. Did a little bit of research on Wikipedia, and I think one of them was HMS Centaur, which was a Portsmouth-based aircraft carrier, but it was actually refitted out in Devonport. But as I say, unfortunately, all my attempts to find it again today have proved unsuccessful. But it's a kind of eye in the sky dating back, to the middle and even earlier of the 20th century. So it's great for researching not just places, but things as well, ships and planes and all kinds of things, and there are just hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pictures in here. So to give you an example of that, I found one a minute ago dating back to 1928 of the Crystal Palace that had been moved after the Great Exhibition in the Victorian era. It was moved from Hyde Park to South London, and I did find one image of it. Here we go, 1928. So there is the Crystal Palace before it was destroyed in a fire. I think the fire was 1935. My mother has recollections of seeing the glow in the sky from where she lived in Croydon. So this is just one end of the Crystal Palace. The gardens and so on are all down off there. You can just see the edge of them there. This is a big water tower. There were two water towers, one at either end, and they fed the fountains in the garden. It's a pity though that they might have one of these are all in the 1940s, so it's after the palace was burnt down. Here you can see this is where the palace was. You can this is the foundations still there today. These were the gardens with the fountains in. The lake here had dinosaurs, replica dinosaurs in it. I think during the 1920s, the Imperial War Museum was actually housed in the palace, and it only moved to Kennington after the fire, I think, maybe shortly before it burnt down. But you can see it's a little bit, you have to take a little bit of time, you know, to, because there are 20 images just in this one folder, and look at how many dots there are just in that one area. But with a little bit of perseverance, you can come across some little gems. I'll just try one more. This is only a couple of years ago. That is the railway station at Crystal Palace. Recognise that because this is the way into the park, and Selwig used to be held in the swimming bars. So this used to be the route that a lot of wargamers took to get to the show. I'll just flip through this one file and then I'll take you somewhere else, give you some examples of what was that? Yeah. See, by the 1940s, Crystal Palace itself was no more. It burnt down in the 1930s. Yeah, there's the railway station again. Athletics track. This is the lake I showed you earlier that has the dinosaurs around it now. Can't resist just clicking on things just to see what. 1928. There you are. Come across it just by accident, but that is a full view of Crystal Palace before it burnt down. Water tower at each end, the grounds, the fountains, the park. Fantastic view, fantastic record. I found it difficult to actually save these images. I actually had to cheat and just screen capture. But it says hover over or select the photo and click the share button to share it to Facebook and Twitter. To embed the photo on your website, click the share button followed by the embed. Then select copy code and paste it to your website's HTML code where you want the image to appear. But as you can see, if you hover over or select the photo and click the share button, where is the share button? I can't see. Oh, there, up there. Full screen. Share. Embed. Yeah, that's the way you do it then. You're clicking on embed. So you copy that and then you open up a website, presumably, and you can copy it to your website. It's as easy as that. I don't know why I had problems with doing that earlier. Absolutely fantastic resource, and it seems to be free. Fantastic way of illustrating videos and so on, or little topics that you want to discuss. Really enjoying going through all this. So anyway, having successfully shown you a picture of the old Crystal Palace building from 1928, let's try and find something else Somewhere I haven't looked at yet. It just occurs to me with all this RAF. Is to look at Biggin Hill, the airfield, see what we can say. 1941. So this is during the Second World War. There's a runway there, so that must be the runway Biggin Hill. Look at all the scars in the ground from, presumably from bombs, don't know. Planes on the ground, look at that. Look as though they're in those pens, blast-proof pens. Absolutely fantastic. You know, I could spend days just going through this, looking at the past from a different angle. (1947), so this is after the war. Back to 1941. So this is the whole, that's obviously the perimeter of the airfield, the strip there. Administrative buildings, presumably. Biggin Hill, in the middle of the war. June 27th, 1941. Let's find another example to give you. Let's do something in London. Tower of London. There's just so much in that area. That's 2013, so obviously very modern, but I wonder if we can find something from the 1940s or even earlier. 1946. Don't know. I hesitate to guess what you're actually looking at there, so I won't. Here we go. 1948. There is the Tower of London there, the White Tower in the middle, the River Thames. This is in the era when the Pool of London was still a functioning port with dockyards and so on. So let's see if we can get some images of the Pool of London. So there is Tower Bridge. This was the area of dockyards. Obviously this is a modern picture, so you're not going to see there's Tower Bridge there, Tower of London. can see all the working ships, barges and so on, tenders. So this is all leisure facilities now, marinas and so on, but I think this is St Catherine's Dock here. Look, just gives you an idea of how busy it was, and this is in 1948 when, you know, sort of still had a little bit of an empire and ships were coming in from all over the world. But in the 18th century, I can't remember where the custom house is, but in the 18th century this would have been just full of vessels, absolutely full of vessels. Tower Bridge again there. I think that's Tower London there. Anyway, we'll go somewhere else. So anyway, basically the message about this is this site really interesting, really worth visiting if you're looking to do a little bit of research on a particular project. It's great for that, but it's also fantastic for personal reasons, nostalgia, family tree. Maybe you want to see where an ancestor lived, you know, and you might even, if you're lucky, you might get an image of the area at the time that they lived there. I think I said at the beginning of this that I found a view of the prefab and the garden where I was a young child. Trying to think where else to take you. Let's go to Dover Castle. So we've been to the Tower of London. Let's go to another historic site. Leicester. We've been in Leicester. Dover Castle, Southwark. Oh, there's lots of pubs called the Dover Castle. That's why. Newcastle upon Tyne. No, we don't want to be in Newcastle upon Tyne. Dover Castle, Dover. There we are. Right. See how many dots there are? And each one of those dots is a folder with about a dozen or so pictures in it. There's Dover Castle there. Quite a modern view. This is the Roman lighthouse here. Not sure. I think that dates back to Anglo-Saxon times, the church. There's a modern barracks there. Dates to the 1930s, I think. So let's see what we've got coming from the past. 2006, 1947. So a couple of years after the end of the war. That's the Roman lighthouse and the Anglo-Saxon church there. The medieval fort, the barracks. We'll find somewhere else with a naval interest. So the dockyards in Chatham in Kent. It's just thousands of images. So this is a modern one, 2012. Long time since I've been to Chatham, so I'm afraid I can't give you much of a guide, but if we're very lucky, we might see some naval vessels in Chatham. (1936). Look at that, sailors on parade. 1936, Royal Navy. This is the barracks in Chatham Dockyard. I am so impressed by this website, really am. As I say, I could spend ages looking through it, but I just wanted to share that with you, show you how you can get a little snapshot back in time. So that is that's where those sailors were parading. We're now, this is about 12 years later. This is after the Second World War. Right, I'm going to stop there. I should put up at the end of this, so in a moment you'll see a picture that I took of, a screenshot that I took of two aircraft carriers being refitted in Devonport, which I thought was a nice view. But now I've found how to embed the pictures on, I might be able to find a way of putting them up more clearly on YouTube. I don't know. I have to experiment with that. Hope you enjoyed that. Hope you go and visit this website and pursue your own research and local interest projects on it and using it. And thanks very much for watching. Bye for now.